welcome everyone. Hope you're having a nice SUSECon so far. Okay, great. So we heard DP this morning talk about a lot of change that came in 2024. And we would like to talk about some of that change, a small piece of that regarding documentation today. My name is Frank Sundermeier. I'm Director of Documentation at SUSE. So in my department, all of SUSE product documentation is handled. We're also handling the tool chain that we use in documentation and the complete publishing process. And we provide localization and terminology services for SUSE. With me is my project manager, Jana. Over to you.
Yeah, basically I'm project managing the portal development tool side of it and our publishing tool chain. Also, I moonlight in documentation analytics and SEO. So if there's something you want to talk about SEO or analytics on the docs side, I'm your girl.
Okay, so brief look back. I don't know how many people here in this room were with SUSE in 2000. That was the time when you bought software off the shelf, big boxes, mainly because of the documentation. So what you can see over there is SUSE Linux 7.0, one of our first really big boxes with manuals that covered like 2,000 or 3,000 pages of documentation. In the years that came after that, we didn't change much. Of course, documentation was no longer printed. You wouldn't buy software off the shelf, but download it from the internet. But we basically kept those manuals. We still have them for SLE 15. The admin guide for SLE 15 comprises of 1,000 pages. What we did change, of course, is we modernized the history, the look and feel of the documentation website, but not much changed until 2021. What we are going to show you today is the journey of how and why we got away from those big manuals to more modern documentation formats and what consequences that had on how we present our documentation in the new documentation portal. So, first of all, I will give you a brief introduction about the thought process of how we see modern documentation, why we chose to change the big manuals into smaller chunks of documentation. Then we will show you the new documentation portal, some of those features, and continue with how you as customers and partners can influence the development of the portal because we are far more agile than we used to be nowadays. And then we'll give you a brief outlook of what we have planned so far. So, rethinking docs. We are doing documentation service since 2019. And the one thing that we kept hearing over and over was it's really hard to find the SUSE documentation. Not the documentation as such, but solutions to the problems. It's hard to find what you as a customer was looking for. Also, doing the analytics, we found out that actually 83% of our customers come to our site via Google. The thought that we had was like, okay, yeah, when you want to go to SUSE documentation, you go to documentationsuse.com and then access the documentation from there. That's only 17%, almost no one. The rest comes via Google. So being able to comprise to SEO is really fundamental here. And then the other thing that we kept hearing over and over again is when I jump into one of your big guides, it always tells me, yeah, okay, do this and that, and then yeah, you need to jump to page 300 for further instructions, and then from there to page 500. So it wasn't a concise experience. You just needed to jump from one page, one point in the manual to another one. So that of course made us think what makes good documentation, yeah, it should have been obvious to us because we are no different than our customers. What do we do when we have a problem with software? We fire up Google and enter an error message or enter a problem description, and then we wanted the results to show up. With SUSE, that was not always the case. You had to go to result page 2 or 3 to find the results. Or to find the appropriate links to SUSE manuals. And what we later found out is that actually the big manuals is the problem, because it's like several hundred pages of software of documentation linked together, and you can only provide SEO information for the whole book, not for a single page. Also, the way that people read documentation has changed a lot. I know back in 2000, people printed our documentation and then put them in the shelf to have access to that. Nobody does that. Nobody reads a book from A to Z, at least not technical documentation. So that has changed as well. So ideal docs should be self-contained, on the spot, to solve don't want to jump into different locations. You want to find the solution to your problem in a single document. And what's also important, documentation does not only need to fit humans, it needs to fit search engines and nowadays also AI. Because a lot of the documentation, if you think about our Rancher stack, SUSE Edge, SUSE AI, a lot of documentation that we write does not exist anywhere else. So this is material to where AIs are trained from. So the documentation also needs to fit the needs of AI nowadays. All this in mind, we decided to try out a new smarter docs format that we actually then called Smart Docs. So, as I said before, one article, one distinct purpose. Don't tell me how it works, because the underlying technology is maybe interesting for developers, but not for users. So tell me how to use it. That's paramount for the new documentation format, which focus on actually solving problems for our customers. And it provides all the information you need in a single document. Also, I don't know if you've heard about the approach, every page is page one. That is the old approach where a smart person said, when you jump into a manual, you need to find context everywhere. But actually that's hard to achieve in a manual, because you as a writer think about a manual. You know, you as a writer know, okay, 200 pages above, this topic was already covered. Why should I repeat it here? You don't do that. But if you write a single article, you need to provide content at the beginning, context at the beginning of the article. So the idea was to tell people right at the front what this article is about, what are the prerequisites, what is the knowledge that you need to have to read this article, to understand this article. Also, I mentioned this before, our documentation was hard to find on Google. So what we did is we just took a chapter out of the big administration manual and posted this as a separate article on our website. And it took 2 or 3 months, and that article the separate article showed up on page 1 in the Google results, whereas the copy that was hidden within the manual only showed up in page 8 or 9 on the search results. So having a top-level link to a page and having appropriate SEO information within that article is what really helped us getting our documents optimized for SEO. And then with that switch, we finally switched to topic-based authoring, that is, provide documentation in very small chunks that are reusable across the portfolio. If you think about something like deploying certificates, this is required for every one of our products. And we have for that documentation, we had 20 different copies, each one a bit different. With a topic-based approach, we can just maintain that in a single place. So yeah, we're using SmartDocs, great. And then we were thinking, wow, okay, the SUSE administration handbook that we have right now would result in 300 different docs. How to find them? So that was the decision to make the SmartDocs was only step 1. We needed a completely different infrastructure to host these SmartDocs, to make them findable. So we decided we need a documentation portal to the rescue that provides those navigation capabilities that we need to find those SmartDocs, like quick filtering, like different sorting options, grouping of different articles, enhanced search with filters, and when we are at it, we can also modernize and improve performance because, to be honest, performance on our old doc site was mediocre at best. And the other thing is, around that time, we started to develop the SUSE Edge documentation, which comprises of almost every single product that we sell at SUSE, bring everything together. So I'm thinking was, if we change something, we would need to make it in a way that also enables us to provide a home for our solution documentation. And here you can see the SUSE Edge documentation. It comprises of documentation from the Linux side, like SLE Micro. That's a base operating system. From the cloud native side, documentation that was formerly hosted on rancher.com, and SUSE Edge specific documentation. So paramount for the new documentation portal was also to enable it for solution documentation, bringing all of the documentation together. So we no longer have rancher.com/docs for the official Rancher documentation. That has now turned into the Rancher community documentation, similar to docopensuse.org for the SLES site, which hosts the OpenSUSE documentation. Now everything is hosted on the documentation.suse.com portal. And how that looks like is something that Jana is going to tell you.
Yeah, well, join me on a journey through the new portal. So this is what you're faced with once you hit documentation.suse.ai. The most recent stuff we got in is this product family filtering. And if I get this laser thingy to work, that one. So if you already know which product family you're looking for, you could narrow down your scope and go there directly without a need to scroll or to use the search bar. Of course, there is the search bar. Of course, it is filter enabled. You will see more of that later. Once you hit one of those squares, you're faced with a selection of versions you want to go to. And yeah, let's go to the next slide and show you what would happen if you had chosen AI and version 1.0, obviously. There is no other version so far. So, as Frank mentioned, you have a great product, you have lots of use cases, you have lots of stuff that's interesting to the users. It will end up with a long list of articles. So we need to bring in filters, we need to bring in sorting, and of course we need to bring, so start with the sorting. You can go A to Z, you can go by publish date if you're just interested in the newest and hottest topic, or if you want to go by task, you could choose one of those and use this, or if you have one specific thing, one keyword that would totally give you what you want, use this filter as you type filter, and the list gets nice and short, and you hopefully get what you wanted. So another thing which we feature more prominently than we used to in the past is the distinction between supported and unsupported documentation. So now you can say, well, okay, I want to look at some /12 SB, let's say 5. And you would flip the switch and go to the archive. So for the unsupported docs, you would get a downloadable zip archive containing the PDF and HTMLs all rolled together, and those nice vintage release notes. Of course, we're not only about product documentation, we also feature Mike's best practices, which provide some in-depth, real-life scenarios that really enrich what we have in the product guides and really, real life. So it really tells you how things work in reality. Then we also have technical reference documentation, which helps you implement solutions in combination with different hardware and software partners. So it makes sense in this context to filter by partners. So you wouldn't be happy if you had a long list and there was IBM in there and Cisco. So we separated them, keep them nice and separate, so it's easier to find them. And then Frank's favorite, the smart docs, they of course get filtered by category or separated by category because, again, we hate those long lists. We love to break up things and have them in a bucket, basically. Moving on to our search. While we'd love to have some really fancy AI stuff that would magically pull in all the stuff that you guys want to see, we still have to live in search engine times, and so we did our best to pimp our existing search with filtering. So you would enter your keyword, you would have a nice list of filter categories, which would be, first of all, documentation type. So you could narrow down by SUSE best practices, technical references, smart docs, product documentation. If you chose product documentation, then you would get product info and product versions. If you, as in this example, went for smart docs, you get those smart docs categories. And yeah, that would narrow down what you get presented with. And let's hope, and hopefully you end up with what you were looking for. So, moving on to how you guys, and I really mean you guys, the SUSE colleagues, the SUSE customers, the SUSE partners, anyone, any user who hits this portal has a say in what to do with it, how to shape it, how to improve it. Hit us with a criticism, hit us with your praise, but hit us. So feedback matters, as I said. And here is how you can interact with that. So one thing that we also market big time on the SUSECon is please take part in our surveys. Maike has put together a really, really comprehensive list of questions.
You will have fun with it.
Yeah, you'll have fun with it. It's quite long. But we get very high quality info out of it, and it helps us to, basically understand what's going on. The other thing, it's more indirect, but that's my ballpark, is we monitor how you interact with our portal. So we do heat mapping and all sorts of event tracking to see how you interact with our site, what's used, what's totally not used, what is maybe a duplicate, and then we strive to adjust the UI and the UX. So we run Google Analytics. So we can go how our content performs. Yeah, so basically, I wouldn't say big brothers are watching you, but we are basically listening, perking our ears up, and listening indirectly to what you are doing and what might be on your minds. Of course, that's not all. You can always email us, grab us at the booth, and speak your mind. That would be preferable, so we can ask questions right back at you. We would really love that. So please come and have a chameleon or whatever. So we like our visitors. And to just illustrate how you helped us shape the portal before and after we launched in October last year, I brought two examples with me. The first one, people were complaining about the homepage being terribly cluttered. We have like 30 products, and if you chuck them in a layout like this, you end up scrolling, and those nerdy web guys, they will talk about folds and such. So it's really important that those lists get shorter. So we listened to that, and we came up with this product family filter, which shortens the list as far as we can do this. I mean, there's still a lot of sleep product, but we can't help it. And this is how it's looking today. Another example of a thing that's to be launched pretty soon. That was a point of criticism where people who knew the old portal pretty intimately, I'd say, they miss a categorization of those deliverables. And we listened to that, and we're bringing them back. So it's not about just innovate, it's also about making you comfortable with it and to accommodate you. And if there's such a thing, please speak up. We are not like, yes, we are proud of what we're doing, but we might be wrong. Let us have your mind. Just speak up. Okay, and that's how the future would look like, or the past. Really depends on how you look at it. Yeah, so how would you help shape the portal? I reiterate myself. Just grab us, have a talk, just chat. Do the documentation survey, because we love stats. We would love having tangible answers to work with. And yeah, there's a feedback button on the portal right over there, which also enables you to enter some free text feedback. Yeah, basically that's it. And I'm handing over back to Frank. If this thing cooperates. Oh no, actually I'm not. Okay, so one thing that crept up, because there is new EU legislation coming up about accessibility for web pages, is improving our UI to accommodate users with handicaps. Yeah, so we jumped on that bandwagon, and we are making great progress on really cleaning up our code, on educating our writers, like to really use accessible language, to go as simple as possible, to provide alt attributes and all that boring stuff, but it really makes a difference, and it will help us to get there. Again, if you hit any accessibility issues, let us have them smack in our faces. So out with it. And back to you.
Thank you, Jana. Yeah, that's basically it. What's next? As Jana just said, depending on your feedback, but of course we have got a rough idea where we want to go. So we're currently working on, as Jana just pointed out, on accessibility. You might have seen that we had a bit of a branding overhaul. If you have been part of SUSEcons in the past, the branding is a bit different. So we are currently working on the branding stuff. If you are SUSE and Rancher customer, you probably have noticed that the documentation formats are slightly different. We are working towards bringing those together on a unique format that is as close together as possible. We are using different tool chains there because development processes are different between SLAS and the Rancher product. Of course, as Jana said, we are working on implementing the feedback, what we got so far from you. And as she just pointed out, if you've got any ideas, we are listening to you. We are open to implementing more stuff that you would like to have. What we would definitely like to do is bringing personalization features, starting with you're logged in at SUSEcom, and your login should, it doesn't at the moment, unfortunately, but our vision is that your login should carry over to documentation.suse.com. So your, for example, language selection is carried over to documentation.suse.com. We would like to enable you to personalize your experience by choosing your favorite entry on the starting page. Say you're a Rancher customer, why should you waste your time going to the homepage? You could pre-select the Rancher documentation homepage. And we would also like to enable you, this is talk for further future, to enable you to bookmark your collection of SUSE articles on site. So you don't have to keep the bookmarks in your browser, but can store them on documentation.suse.com and access them from every device you access the documentation with. And of course, AI is a big topic. So what I really would like to see, and I hope we can get there by the end of this year, is to have an AI trained with our documentation, plus our support knowledge base, plus the Linux man pages and whatever else is available for free. Have the AI trained with that and enable you to just fire up questions in the AI. Okay, that's what we had for you. Thank you. And yeah, have a nice rest of SUSEcon.